The Battle of Endor was well underway. Both on the ground and in space, the rebellion and the Empire locked in a conflict that dwarfed any that came before it, though it was the rebel mission on the surface that proved to be the most crucial. For if it failed, those who piloted craft hoping to destroy the second Death Star will be met with nothing but scorching laser fire from the enemy. General Han Solo undertook leading this team, and he wasn't one for feeling regret. But there was a sunrise in every cycle. As he and Leia hunkered down at the entrance to the Imperial bunker that housed the shield generator controls, he had gotten word of Chewbacca's demise. He would be lying to say that he didn't ponder charging forward at that moment with the sole intention of killing as many stormtroopers as he could before they took him out. The only thing that snapped him back was the woman standing next to him. Leia Organa was the answer to so many questions he posed about his future, and it was that future that kept him going. General Solo! Han's comlink was bustling with rebel chatter every second, and this time it was Captain Rex, the old Clone War relic, who called in. We've got reports the Imperials have activated their Special Forces units. If we don't get that shield down before they get here, this mission will be over. Han knew some rebels to exaggerate their odds in tough situations, hence why he would remind them to never tell him about them. Though Rex had more experience in battle, more so than anyone on the ground at Endor, he was literally bred for this reason. If he saw the severity of the situation, that meant things had to get moving right now. The bunker is still tight. The console's the only way to get in. Han turned to the soldiers in the perimeter and shouted, R2! Somebody find that blasted droid and get him over here! It wasn't long before the astromech rolled his way over, with C-3PO lagging not far behind, trying his best to avoid becoming a target for the approaching Imperials. Once the pair of droids arrived at the bunker, Han made the task clear. Get that blast door open. R2 was plugged into the console without hesitation, as Han thought to himself that that little droid had more courage than some soldiers he's seen. Even 3PO did all he could to help, digging through wires, attempting a manual override. As the battle dragged on, the Emperor continued with his games of mental torture on the young Jedi Knight, Luke Skywalker. Already could Luke feel the suffering of his friends begin to mount, and it felt as though all the weight of that began to wear down on his very existence. His mind filled with regret as he thought back to when he left his friends. In that moment, he believed his destiny lay where he is now, on board this station, with the goal of bringing his father back to the light. Though now, he wondered if he was wrong, and should have stayed on Endor with his friends. He heard a faint voice, that of Obi-Wan Kenobi, telling him to banish these thoughts of regret. But with every explosion he saw came increasing amounts of regret. The Emperor could sense that, and began feeding from Skywalker's emotional struggle. Skywalker. Palpatine leaned forward, intentionally removing his hand from Luke's lightsaber that nestled into the arm of his throne. There is only one path left for you to take. The emotions you feel will give you strength. Use them and strike me down. It is the only way to save your friends. Luke snapped back in anger at the Emperor. Those words echoed throughout his head, drowning out the warnings of Obi-Wan Kenobi to steer clear of hatred. Without hesitation, Luke reached out with the Force and yanked his saber free of the Emperor's throne. The green blade activated mid-flight as Luke brought the hilt to his hand, and in a motion so quick, he sliced at the Emperor. Only to his shock did he feel the weight of his slash reverberate back to him. Once his vision centered itself, he saw a red blade had come across the path of his, just inches from the Emperor's face. He turned to see Vader had intercepted the blow, saving his master. Skywalker stepped back, if only to center himself once more. Memories of his last duel with Vader flashed in his head. He was naive and ill-prepared then, but now he was a Jedi Knight, the same as his father before Vader took over. He drowned the voice of the Emperor out and focused solely on the Emperor's apprentice. Inferno Squad now began pushing towards the shield bunker, with their full expectation set on achieving victory. Iden Versio led the charge as they navigated through the scorched greenery of Endor's fourth moon. "Commander!" shouted Agent Hask as he pointed to bring Ida's attention to what he saw. "Rebel snipers in the trees! There appear to be villages up there!" "Dank Ferric," Iden whispered under her breath as she signaled for the rest of Inferno Squad to take cover. The order came just in time as blasts of fire ripped through the canopy of leaves with one shot ricocheting off Iden's armor. "We have to do something about those snipers. They'll slow our advance and any reinforcements." Iden could hear the distant sounds of a soldier yelling at his troops to keep firing. "I may have an idea." Agent Miko snapped back from attempting return fire. "We take down the tree. Once it goes, I'll probably yank that entire village down with it." Agent Hask rounded the tree he used as cover. "He's on to something, but I'm out of thermal charges." "I'm not. Give me covering fire." Iden holstered her TL-50 and grabbed the thermal imploder from her utility belt as she sprang forward. Iden could feel the heat of Hask and Miko's blast of fire radiating as they soared over her, headed upward towards the rebels. As Iden got closer, she was able to actually see the rebels camped above her. She spied the one giving orders, and to her surprise, he was older than the average soldier. But once she heard the voice, she knew exactly what he was. A clone, Iden muttered as she darted from tree to tree, getting closer to the base of where they were firing. "How much longer, Commander? We're starting to run out of cover!" Agent Hask never lacked confidence, but the severity of the mission tends to shake anyone up. "I'm arming the charge now, get ready!" Iden thumbed down on the activation switch as a pitched charging noise beeped from the imploder. She lathered at the base of the tree and turned running back to the rest of Inferno Squad. The clone she spotted from below was of course Captain Rex, and he spotted her retreating back to her friends. Any other soldier would have took that moment as a show of the Emperor's cowardice, but Rex had been at this for too long to know what was really happening. "Blasted," was the last word he said before an explosion ripped at the base of the tree. As a fireball engulfed the base, shrapnel in the form of wood splinters the area. The screams of rebels and Ewoks alive ring out over the sounds of destruction as the tree began its man-caused fall. The villages that hugged itself to it and among the other trees began to be ripped down with a domino effect. Inferno Squad watched as what seemed like the last line of defense before the shield bunker had finally been broken. "On to the bunker then, Commander," asked Agent Miko as the rest of Inferno Squad refocused and pressed on. "Blast it all! That's what a clone was, wasn't it?" Han Solo heard the explosion an Inferno Squad had caused just moments earlier. Rex had warned him about the Imperial Special Forces being activated on the planet, and if they had gotten to the old clone already, there wasn't much time before they'd be knocking on his doorstep. "R2, where are you on this door?" Little Ashley McJoy beeped a sound that Solo hoped meant calm down as the access port clicked. It was then that another blast door sealed itself shut, and one couldn't even begin to describe the sinking feeling Solo felt as he saw that door close. He took a moment to look up to the sky, where he could still see the faint image of the Death Star 2, and even worse, still see it firing on the Rebel fleet. "General Calrissian, we need to consider a retreat before it's too late. General Solo and his team are far behind schedule." Admiral Ackbar was a battle-hardened fleet commander who had been active since the Clone War. That's why Lando knew there had to be some truth to his warning. He had all the faith he could in his old smuggler friend, but there were a lot of lives at stake, more than ever before. "The smaller craft have a better chance of making it out of here, Admiral. I'm afraid if you try to cut tail and run, you're going to be their priority target." Lando now began to weigh the serious options that faced the Rebel fleet, though it wasn't a surprise to learn that Ackbar had already taken that issue into account. The Mon Cala veteran looked around his bridge and gave the fair warning. "I'm afraid this will be the last voyage for the Home One." If you wish to abandon ship in hopes of making it to a smaller craft, so be it. Though I intend to stay and fight for the rebellion." As his eyes met with each other crew member on deck, the expression for all was the same. They were staying. "Very well." Ackbar soon raised transmission with every ship in the fleet. "This is Admiral Ackbar of the Home One. We have sustained far too many casualties to keep up this fight. I am ordering a retreat for all crafts and fighters. This will not be the end, for from ashes rises a new hope. It has been an honor to serve among you all, and may the Force be with you." As the Admiral signed off, many wondered why his message sounded like a farewell in the end before they realized what was taking place. The Home One began a direct charge towards the Executor Star Destroyer. On board the command bridge was Admiral Piet, who looked bewildered at the sight of the rebel command ship barreling his way. "All batteries open fire!" the Admiral shouted as a barrage of green bolts splattered the front of the Home One. "Engage forward shields to max, and bring rear thrusters to full power!" Ackbar responded to the Executor's last-ditch effort to stave off what they both knew was about to happen. In that brief moment before the inevitable, he thought back to the sacrifice of Admiral Raddus at Scarif so many years ago. For many, that was the official start of the Galactic Civil War, and Ackbar had hoped that Endor would be the end. However, the fighting would still drag on, though he had faith that the rebellion would still achieve victory someday. It was in the very next moment that the bridge of the Home One became so bright, Ackbar couldn't make out any direction. The ship began to rock and sway before explosions ripped the bridge into the vacuum of space. In his last moment, he saw the Home One and the Executor both tilted downwards, drifting as the rest of the rebel fleet attempted to evacuate. With no way to reach the ground teams due to Imperial's jamming communications, Calrissian watched Endor one more time before turning the Falcon about face and retreating with what remained of the fleet. "I'm sorry, old pal," Lando said as he engaged the hyperspace of the Falcon. On the surface, the rebels that remained did all they could to hold on, unbeknownst to them that the fleet was already in full retreat. They were trapped by the Empire, and Infernal Squad was closing in to seal the deal. The shield bunker was in range, and Iden could make out what was left of the rebels below. "Commander, the rebel fleet has retreated. At the very least, what's left of it. These fools are trapped, and they don't even know it." Agent Hass seemed to revel in that thought, and though her expression was hidden beneath her helmet, Iden was as well. "Then let's make this quick. Miko, take your shot." Agent Miko took aim with a DLT-19X as he brought the shield bunker in sight. He could see Han Solo, the scoundrel attempting to open the bunker door. He then sighted Leia Organa just next to him. That would be his target. He took a breath, and soon after, a shot. Solo nearly jumped out of his boots as Leia slumped down beside him. "No!" Han yelled as he tossed his blaster and immediately kneeled down to check on her. At that moment, stormtroopers surrounded the bunker, ordering everyone to surrender. Han paid no attention as Leia caressed him one final time. "I love you," she uttered as her hand fell to the ground. Still on board the Death Star, Luke took to hiding from Vader during their duel, but something jarred his entire soul. In that moment, he could feel a coldness brew over him as he searched his feelings to find the answer. In doing so, he discovered what he felt, or rather, what he could no longer feel. The warmth of his sister, Leia, had faded. The one family he had left was gone, and he felt rage grow in the pit of his stomach as he emerged from his hiding and lashed out on Vader. The Emperor watched in amusement as Skywalker's eyes slowly began to become a piercing yellow. He had given in to his anger, and with every moment began to overpower Lord Vader. Soon, young Skywalker was now the one who towered over Vader as the Emperor marched down from his throne with a grin that stretched over his scarred face. Yes, yes, kill him. Kill him now and take your rightful place at my side. As Luke looked down at his father, he could feel nothing but hatred. He blamed him for the loss of his sister. Even the deaths of his aunt and uncle were on Vader's hands. Skywalker's blade rose in the air before coming down across the chest of Vader. Sparks flew as the panel that sat upon his chest was destroyed, and Vader's body laid on the ground, lifeless. Very good, very good, my new apprentice. Palpatine walked away, his laughter echoing throughout the throne room as Luke stepped away, standing aside his new master, as they watched the Imperial fleet regather at the end of the chaos. And that is it for this trilogy of Star Wars Altered History, The Empire Wins at Endor. I know this episode might have been a really more bleak and grim take on any Altered History I've ever done before this. And to be fair, it was kind of on purpose. I haven't really done an Altered History for the Empire in about, I want to say, 3 series that really focus on the grittiness of the war rather than, the dark side and the Sith. We had a little bit of elements of that here and there. But it also took a while to finish this series, so I thought I need to go big with this finale to make it up to you guys for kind of lacking for the past couple months. But I had good reasons for why when I upload. I'll get into that whenever I can. But I just want to say thank you guys for tuning into the series. If you've seen, I've been uploading full sagas for previous Altered Histories. I will continue doing that. One will be going up for this episode very soon as well. So keep an eye out for that. And keep an eye out for any other future Altered Histories that will be gracing the channel here at the Marauders Guild. So until the next time, may the force of others be with you.